Hello everybody and welcome to the second episode of the Save File podcast. Today with me is a man who's a real gun nut, real car head, hits asphalt so hard they call him Street Fighter, Master Anf.
Aye aye.
This man is wanted dead or alive in 3 states. We got Mr. Charbs.
Hey, what's up?
And Virtua Fighter is the closest thing I've come to a true love, and I am Josh. And today on the menu, we have Persona 4 Remaster Rumors. True, false, completely blown out of proportion? We'll find out next. The Call of Duty debate and whether or not traditional campaigns are really necessary, on how things have been a bit blown out of proportion again. The Classification Board and some sort of mishap with We Happy Few. We'll get into that later. And we're going to wrap up today with a discussion on Fortnite. We're all game devs here, and we want to give our professional opinions, I guess, on how we think it might affect the industry going forward. Anf, do you want to start us off with your Persona 4 Remaster rumors?
Yep. So we know that Persona 4 is definitely not dead yet.
No matter how many times we try to kill that fucking game.
It just keeps coming back.
How many times do we need to teach you this lesson, old man?
To be honest, I've never experienced Persona 4. I have Persona 3, and I finished Persona 5. Love the fucking game. It's amazing.
Oh no, Persona 5 is this is a good game.
But I am no stranger to Shin Megami Tensei, that's for sure.
Persona 4 is very, very not Shin Megami Tensei. It's a very positive and happy and colourful game.
Persona 4 is life.
Yeah,
it's love, man.
It's love. Yu Narukami, he's the Chad.
Wait, how are you going to say it's love and life? You haven't experienced it.
Because I already know.
Persona 4 is not a game, it's a feeling, it's a state of mind.
It's a legendary feeling.
It's an identity.
Alright, straight to the point. This was announced apparently on the Persona magazine. Twitter user Gatsby has tweeted an image of the front cover, which is the recent issue of the magazine. He also tweeted a translation, or he or she, I don't know, or them. They tweeted a translation of what it said on the cover, which says Persona 4 evermore. Persona 4 is not over. Game, anime, manga. Check out the latest information, which honestly sounds very vague.
Very, very vague. It's too much. It's not enough to go on at the moment.
Yeah.
I think we're blowing it out of proportion. There's been a remake recently with Golden. I just don't think they would make another one, even with the Blaze Blue X crossover thing.
Yeah, I think it's kind of too much for Persona 4 at the moment. Like,
yeah, I think it's too much.
It might be a port of Golden to PS4.
No, I could see that. A port of Golden would make sense. I don't know how well that would sell, honestly.
I totally wish it, though.
No, I know you do. I know people who played 5 and really liked it would probably go and buy Persona 4 Golden for the PS4, since the Vita sold as bad as well as my brand new clam and tomato juice.
Yuck.
With real crushed clam.
Oh,
is clam juice even a thing?
Clam juice? Yeah, clam juice is a thing.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
I wouldn't recommend it, but it's a thing.
I wouldn't recommend it, and I haven't had it either. Like, what on earth? I ain't even going to comment on that.
Oh.
Yeah. But I think the rumors are just blown out of proportion. I'm going to go with a strict false here.
The name Evermore is based on the song Nevermore, which is used apparently frequently in Persona 4.
That is true, but it's also based on Edgar Allan Poe's very famous Nevermore about a raven.
Quoth the raven. Nevermore.
Quoth the raven.
Quoth the raven. Edgy.
Edgy.
Wow.
We're going a little too Persona 3 here. Let's bring it back.
But, I mean, I guess this... I guess, like I said, it could be a case of... after the success of Persona 5, maybe they looked and said, this might do well. Because to be honest, most of the people I would wager that bought Persona 5 were fans of that series.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a lot of fan
Persona is the type of game where I don't see a lot of people jumping into it at number 5. You know what I mean?
Persona 5 is one of those games where I think it was a really good bridge to the series. Because it's just, it's exquisite. It's a good game, and I think a lot of people bought into that game with it, especially how much it was more marketed than, say, 3 and 4.
Persona 4 was mostly people's first. Say, Final Fantasy 7 was people's
first. Like,
Yeah.
it's just one of those games that kind of resets the series. Also, they're not in sequels to each other, so it doesn't matter when you jump in. It's just one of those series.
Yeah.
That's a very Japanese thing. Like, not having to jump. You can jump in at any point. It makes complete sense.
But the
Like-
dancing games, though, those are
The
most
dancing
definitely
games,
sequels. And
we
Persona
don't
Q,
speak about that. We don't speak about Q or the dancing games.
there's a sequel to Q anyway
I'm
coming out.
actually really excited for the Q sequel, but we don't have time for that today.
No.
No.
Sadly.
Before we move
man.
on from the general discussion of JRPGs, I just wanted to quickly give a shout out to a game that's releasing on the 25th of May, which means it'll be out by the time this airs. Pokemon Phoenix Rising, the first episode they're releasing. This is a Pokemon fan game, and I'm going to be saying I've been following it for years. It's got like alignment choices, and like the starters are really interesting. It's like Staryu and Petlil and Growlithe. Like the game looks ridiculously good, and I would recommend anyone to pick it up. And it's free, so.
Quick question: haven't doesn't don't a lot of Pokemon fan games get like sort of shut down, whether it be by I don't even know who owns a license at this point. Is it Nintendo or Game Freak?
I think it's Game Freak.
Yeah. No, actually, I
Pokemon-
think it's Nintendo. I think Nintendo are the ones who own the rights to have Pokemon.
Yeah, no, that
games.
makes way more sense because they were the
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
Okay, fan games that get shut down with Pokemon, usually what happens is they're released and then they get shut down,
Yeah.
which is a really weird thing to me. Is like they always like Uranium was the one that got shut down, but that had been in development for years and years,
Same
and it
thing
had been
with
very
yeah.
popular.
Same thing with Metroid.
Yeah, Metroid
A2
AMR 2.
AMR
Another
2,
Metroid remake
yeah.
2. It finished and then they shut it down. So I'm thinking that this is a way for Nintendo to have it both ways. Like, okay, the game exists, it's on the internet, you can't get rid of it, but it's out.
Yeah.
You like, it came to completion. Yeah, Nintendo has a bad track record with that, but I would seriously recommend picking this game up. It's free. It's really, really good. I would just really recommend it. Next week I'll give my 2 cents on how the actual demo was, because I'll give it a playthrough. Next, we're going to move on to the Call of Duty discussion that Charbs wanted to bring up.
Alright, so I'll take lead here. So, ever since about maybe 2010, when Call of Duty Black Ops, the first one, when that came out, I became a huge fan of COD. Because, I mean, back then I was in like year 8 and year 9,
Edgy team.
me and all of my mates played it. COD was, at that time, it was the game everyone played. So, from maybe 2010 to about maybe 2012... 2013, around then, I stopped when Ghost came out.
Ugh.
But COD was the game. You know what I mean? And Zombies was what me and a few of my mates were absolutely obsessed with.
Oh yeah, fucking love zombies.
So whenever...
Such a fun mode.
So whenever Treyarch were the ones releasing the game that year, me and my mates picked it up. So Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, and now Black Ops 4. And to be honest... obviously because of the way the gaming landscape has changed, whatever, COD sort of took a backseat to other games.
Yeah.
Now the game that like me and my mates sort of default to is Overwatch, and I mean I absolutely love Overwatch, but a mate of mine sent in a group chat that I'm a part of. He sent it was like all the trailers from the reveal event, and this event features 3 different zombie campaigns, one being on the Titanic. Another being like a Roman gladiators arena, and then another one is Blood of the Dead, which is I think it's a remake of Mob of the Dead from Black Ops 2, but it's going to feature the original characters.
Oh, wow, that actually sounds really cool.
Yeah.
So and Mob of the Dead was one of my favorite maps, but it's going to take Mob of the Dead and then put my favorite, like the 4 characters I obviously became a huge fan of playing zombies on Black Ops 1. It's going to put them in it. So I was happy with that. Obviously, Call of Duty is going to have multiplayer every year. I think everyone sort of knows what to expect from a Call of Duty multiplayer. You have your kill streaks and things like that.
Yeah, it's all bullshit.
And the big one though, the big reveal was their Blackout mode, which is what they're calling their Battle Royale mode. And essentially, what they've done, I don't know, have either of you seen the trailer for it?
No.
Not yet.
What they've done, they've taken characters and maps from all the CODs, and they've essentially thrown them into a massive world, and they've made it a battle royale. So it's battle royale by Call of Duty rules, and all the different areas of the world are Call of Duty maps. So you look at PUBG and Fortnite, where they have very recognizable landmarks. So for Fortnite, you're thinking of like Tilted Towers, things like that.
Yeah.
Call of Duty are putting parts of their own previous maps in there.
Yeah, like over there is Nuketown. Over there is like...
Over there's Nuketown. Over there there's, Hanoi. Over there there's Summit. Over there there's Turbine from Black Ops 2. Like, they're doing that. And to be honest, as a fan of the series, I guess I'm a sort of on and off fan. I think that's a pretty interesting take on it. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect them to go that direction with it. I knew they would have a battle royale, but I thought it would be a sort of standard one. But look, to be honest, I'm not sitting here saying it's going to be the game of the year, but what I am saying is that I think it's an interesting direction that they're going. But
no, definitely,
the big controversy around this is a lot of people, especially like long-standing fans of the series, are criticizing it because they're saying that it's entirely, it's wrong for them to do a game where they don't have a traditional single-player campaign. And look, to be honest, I disagree. At the end of the day, I am the type of person who I'll be happy to pay for a product if it's polished, if it's a quality product, you know what I mean? And look, Call of Duty's track record, in my opinion, has been a bit, I guess, black and white. There are some games in the series like Black Ops 1 and Modern Warfare that I absolutely loved, and then when you get to Ghost and there onwards, that's where I fell off. Where I was like, nah, I don't want to play this.
Yeah, Ghost was bad. I'm on your side here. I disagree. I don't think a game necessarily has to have a dedicated single player campaign.
Yeah.
But I will say this: if it bothers you that much, don't buy it.
Yeah. So
it no longer look. You as a consumer, I understand like the whole brand loyalty. Oh, this is my favorite series. But if it's no longer doing what made you want to like play it and that shit, don't buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, to be honest, I think one thing a lot of people need to remember is your wallet is louder than your voice.
Oh, no, absolutely.
They can be a million dislikes on the YouTube trailer reveal, whatever. But if there's 1 million less people buying it, that is going to strike a nerve with them.
Oh yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
Hit them in their wallets, not their ears.
Absolutely. And one thing I don't like though are the people that say Call of Duty owes the campaign, like it's wrong for them not to have it. I'm going to say this here and now. I've said it before, but this is only our second podcast, so this is the first time I'm going to say it on this podcast. No game owes you anything.
Unless you kickstarted it.
Unless you kickstarted it. But
I'm gonna give you the exception there, but I agree with you. You can't just expect shit from a game. Like they're building the product that they think is going to be the best, and you got to tell them with your wallet whether or not it is the best. Don't buy the game if you're not going to enjoy it.
Like I had the same discussion with mates when we were talking about because I was talking about how much I'm looking forward to Red Dead Redemption, and a mate of mine was saying, well, as long as it doesn't turn out like GTA 5 did, where GTA Online is so focused on, buying shark cards and things like that. I said, well, I mean, if you look at how much money those shark cards bring in, you can't blame them. It's that simple. Your
I don't
wallet,
blame them. I judge them, but I don't blame them.
Like, at the end of the day, you can support who you want to support and things like that. Like, that's the power of being a consumer.
Yeah.
Is you can take a look at something and say, this deserves my money, this thing doesn't deserve my money.
Look, I'll give you an easy analogy. It's like, alright, we were talking before about Persona games. I fucking love the Persona games. I've played all of them. But if Persona 6 was a first-person shooter, I would not buy it.
I can only imagine how different that would be.
Yeah.
Persona 6
but
Black
if
Ops.
you're playing a game for this single player campaign and they release something, it's like, here's a bunch of party modes. Like, it's completely different to what you want. Then don't buy it. It's alright. It's alright not to buy the game. There are plenty of other games.
Yeah.
On the topic of this, so do you guys think that the consumer mentality of entitlement has gone too far?
No. Absolutely. Oh man. Here we go.
Okay. Okay, all right.
Okay, look, let me clear this up. I don't think it's gone too far, but I think that because now there are so many ways we can interact with developers and things like that and voice our opinions, I think it's just become a bit overbearing. There are sometimes where I completely support it. For example, Star Wars Battlefront 2, where they had the most downvoted comment on Reddit. And I think it was, it was so badly received the way they reacted to the whole loot box structure. Everything. That I like, and I will never ever criticize the ability to voice people's opinions. But there are times where it's unfounded and not needed.
No, I absolutely agree.
We don't know how good Black Ops 4 will be. Look, if I was to make a prediction, I don't think it'll be the game of the year. But we don't know how good this game is going to be.
Oh, no, it could be the worst game ever. It could be the best game ever. We don't fucking know yet. It's not going to be either of those things, but
I think people just need to keep more of an open mind. People are too quick to just start complaining whenever they hear something that may or may not, be to their liking.
Yeah, they need to relax. Just need to relax.
It's funny because I've seen... Even though everyone, like most of the people I've spoken to about this are either long-standing fans of the series or people that don't really care about the series and don't have an opinion. And most of them are saying, well, I wish it had a campaign. I know a couple of people I've spoken to about this who are fans of the series after I stopped, being a fan of the series, I guess, who are saying, yeah, I don't mind the fact that it doesn't have a campaign. A lot of games that have come out now don't have a campaign, and it's not that big of a problem.
No, it's not that big of a problem because those games serve different needs now. It's why I don't play those games, because I'm not a particularly big multiplayer guy. I don't find enjoyment in it, so that's why I just don't buy those games. I don't own Overwatch, I don't play Call of Duty, and I don't play Battlefield. It's just not my style of game.
Yeah, but I think that's the problem. I think too many people get the idea of this game isn't to my liking and this game is bad. They get those two ideas confused.
Okay, yeah,
and then they become very vocal.
Yeah, I think everyone needs to do this. They need to do this before you post your comment, before you start talking, and before you start ranting. Really think for a second. Is this my opinion and my preference, or is this an actual issue? Because the Star Wars Battlefront thing was an actual issue. That was the most money-grubby, bloody, horrible anti-consumer thing I've ever seen put into a video game. And the public outcry was very necessary and very well done. But if you have a controversy which is just like, oh, this isn't to my preference anymore, how dare you? Maybe just wait, and then when it comes out and it's not to your preference, just don't buy the fucking game. It doesn't matter.
Just because it doesn't cater to you doesn't mean it doesn't cater to anybody else.
No, it's made for other people. Like, a game not made for me might be Charbs' favourite fucking game ever. We don't know. Like, you just gotta let games be games. There's so many now, and there's so many devs, and you can go and make your own fucking game if you haven't found one that's to your liking.
Yeah. Like, I played Fortnite maybe 2 or 3 times, and I was like, how do people have fun with this? Like, it just wasn't the type of game that I was interested in. Not a bad game by any, by any means. I'm not trying to say that, but it's just, this game wasn't for me. Then I went, played, probably more Overwatch knowing me or whatever game I was going through at the time, and I just sort of went back to it. But there's a difference between doing that and then going on the internet and like bashing a game, talking about how much the developers owe you for support. And like it almost bugs me because it's like, let me tell you what they owe you. When you go into a retailer or you buy your game in any form, the retailer owes you the game that's been made, nothing else. If you think you've made a bad purchase, that's fine. Go get your refund. But that's sort of where it ends.
Yeah, no, I would say this one further. The developer owes you humane design. Their game should not be predatory.
Agreed.
That is where I stand on that. That's the thing that they owe you. As a consumer and as a maker of a product, you should definitely always be designing things to be humane and not predatory and not, just don't go and target people in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a whole other issue. That's more of the video game business level type of thing.
That's a business level issue. But I do want to come back to the criticism thing for one moment, and that's just because of the indie development scene and Twitter. And that's because when you're treating at a AAA game company they don't give a shit. They're not reading it. They've got a guy who reads it and then he ignores you. That's the extent of that interaction.
Likely
I mean-
mocks you as well.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, if I was a AAA developer and I hop on Twitter and the only tweets I'm seeing, or the majority of tweets I'm seeing, are people saying, your game is shit before my game is released, that's actually pretty fucking disheartening.
Oh no, I'm not saying it's not disheartening, but I'm saying there's a lot of levels you're going through. There's a lot of management and business to it. But when you're talking about an indie game developer, I want people to actually think for a second, because you're not talking to a fucking company. You're talking to a human being. And when there's 100 of you, or 1,000 of you, or 1,000,000 of you, when you say shit, you can really hurt someone. Just be careful. Voice your opinions and your criticisms as criticism, and not attack people, because that's just never justified.
Yeah. I will say this, it does go both ways though. If you
I'm not going to defend anyone who attacks back.
I was going to say, don't defend like a Phil Fish level thing.
Oh, no, I'm not going to defend that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is everyone needs to be a little... Just understand that you're allowed to dislike something, and you're even allowed to tell the person who made it that you dislike it. But just be careful with how you phrase it. And developers, if you make something and someone doesn't like it, deal with it. Like, honestly. Like, there's no nicer way to put it. Like, you have... If you're in this industry, you're going to have to learn how to deal with people who don't like your thing.
You're gonna
don't attack them.
You're gonna have to have a heart of steel, bro.
Yeah, that's it. That's any industry, really.
No, that's any industry when you're making something to the public. If you're an office worker, you don't have to deal with that. But when you're a game developer and you're making this thing and someone doesn't like it, don't attack back. Because your quips are not funny. You're actually just looking very, very horrible to everyone around you.
Yeah.
But I would like to move on now, because I feel like we've talked enough about this, and I don't want to get too far into this subject without proper research.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The classification board. Charbel, do you want to lead on this one? Because you have the inside scoop.
Oh, man. Okay, so let's be honest. Australia's history with game classification has not been the greatest.
Oh, South Park.
Let's say South Park, Manhunt. I mean, the list... We can talk for like... For God knows how long, just on games that have either had to have been altered, or just straight up have been banned in this country.
Let's just put it this way. The R-rated game has been in our country for about 2 years. We haven't had R-rated games in our country for very long. That's how behind we are.
Hear this phrase very clearly. Censored R games. Censored R games.
There is no classification that is
But
safe.
The latest victim to the Australian Classification Board is We Happy Few.
That's really interesting to me, but go on, I want to hear the story.
Okay, so to my knowledge and from everything I've read, the reason for this censorship that's been given is the fact that drugs in the game are used to incentivize player decisions, I believe, is what they've said. So drugs are essentially a positive aspect in the game in some ways.
I don't want to drag them down, but have they ever taken Panadol?
Okay, so here's my take on it. I started playing... I think the first time I ever played a Grand Theft Auto game was I played Vice City at the age of about 6.
That explains so much.
Hear me out. I've played so many violent video games. You know, there are so many games where I play them and you would do many things that are illegal in real life. Look at Burnout, for example. Burnout 3 Takedown is one of my favourite racing games. And there's a mode called Road Rage where you just cause absolute destruction.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing of games need to have... And games are about interaction and action.
That's my point. Now, I'm gonna spit some shocking facts at you boys. Oh. I've never been arrested. I've never been arrested. I've never been convicted of a crime. It's amazing what can happen when you have the simple ability to know right from wrong.
Oh yeah, no. There's deep mental walls we have for that kind of stuff.
I mean, this is what annoys me, right? Is the idea that games have such a massive, massive influence on people's day-to-day actions.
They do, but not in the way that they want to spin it.
That's my point. It's like I've never, for example, in GTA 5 you can smoke weed. I've never played as Franklin in GTA 5, smoked weed and said, let me see if any of my mates know where to get weed. I've never done that.
Well, now I guess I'm on meth now.
Oh, man.
And as a loyal KH fan, I have never gone out with a giant key and smacked him in the face with it.
As an avid Mario enthusiast, I have never tried to jump on mushrooms.
It's crazy because it's like so many. I just see this as such a useless thing. Is you're banning a game because of something that's integral to the whole story of the game. Because the story of We Happy Few is that essentially people are being oppressed by the government. And drugs are a common theme in it, but it's like, why is this such a big thing? We live in a world where we're trying to be as progressive as possible. In the US recently, in the last year or so, weed got legalized further and further. In some parts of Australia, actually, certain drugs have now been decriminalized. Like we're in a time where
it's a transitioning period.
And here's the best part: the drug in We Happy Few is fictional.
Yeah, it's not. It's joy. Let me say this: people. I don't believe that those people are very well versed enough in video games because. Have they ever played We Happy Few? The drugs are not a good thing in that game. They have positive effects, but it's actually horrifying.
So there's another game I want to bring up that was, I believe, in 2005 that got, if I remember correctly, disallowed by the Australian Classification Board. It was refused classification. It was a game called Narc, and this was one of the main mechanics in this game. Because you played as a police officer. When you got drugs from arresting a suspect or whatever, and there were many different drugs in the game. You had three options. You could either turn the drugs in, but there was no incentive to do that. You didn't get paid or anything. You just got good cop points.
Yes.
You could sell the drugs to make money, or you could take the drugs and that would give you some sort of boost in game. Like I think weed slowed things down and gave you accuracy. If you took cocaine, you would speed up.
Okay, that's actually incentivizing.
That's my point. That's my point. That is an incentivizing of drugs. And look, while I still say I wouldn't have refused it classification, but that's just
I wouldn't
because...
have banned that game, but that is very clearly in violation of glorifying or over sensationalizing it.
That's my point. But I can understand. But the drug in We Happy Few, the main drug is joy, which is not a real drug, and
it's the subtext of it though. It's not actually a positive thing. The whole thing is that joy is a very oppressive thing. It's basically here, take the happy pill. Don't think.
It's just. But to be honest, that's a thing that goes on in the world. Like people using, obviously, probably not being oppressed by the government with it, but there are, many parts of the world, in fact in most places of the world, people are using things like drugs as coping tools.
Oh yes, the use of narcotics as coping tools for mental illnesses or pain and shit, that's a real thing that real people have to go through. And it's a very relatable thing to even people who have never been in that stage of their lives.
And but what I find to be so shocking is I think the Classification Board still looks at games like this and says, we don't want this in the hands of
little 6-year-old Timmy.
But that's my point. That's what the R18 rating is for. That's what the MA15 restricted rating is for. Like, you have the power to say only people over the age of 18 buy this. Now look, I've been in some retail stores where, obviously people under the age of 18 have gone and bought R-rated games. Yeah. I can't help that, nor can the government. But it's honestly a case of I think parents need to be able to to help the kids pick right from wrong, and I think for the most part they do.
Absolutely.
This to me is just the Classification Board trying to make a problem out of something that is not a problem.
I think if we really wanted to solve it, one thing that could be done is on consoles just have a freaking a rating restriction. It's like, you put in this game. It says it's R-rated. Your parents have said you got to put in a password to like play this game. If it's going to be that far, but I don't think we should be denied any amount of content. Games aren't toys; they're just a medium of entertainment. It's like a book, it's like a movie, it's like a TV show.
This is all before we get into the major thing of, let's be real here. Do you think that's really going to stop anyone that wants to play this game?
Oh no, absolutely not.
No.
Man, I remember when I was in my first year of studying game design. That was when Hotline Miami 2 came out, and that was a game that was refused entry into Australia. It was refused classification.
That didn't stop us.
Man, I the day it came out, I remember one of my mates put a photo up in the Facebook group, and he goes, "The Australian Classification Board won't stop me," and it was him downloading Hotline Miami 2. Like, you're not going to stop this. And look, if even after you bang it, if you're not going to chase up, you're not going to really enforce it, why are you putting so much effort into stopping games coming in?
Yeah, you're just hindering a market, like, at that point. You're just being a dick. Why
Precisely. Why though?
Why do? One thing I've got to say is, like, look, you're not going to stop people. And to anyone who plays games, from developers, if our game is ever banned in your country, just pirate it.
Absolutely.
Just pirate the game.
Yeah.
We're adults. We accept that drugs exist.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
You kind of got to get past that. Like, at a certain age, just check, this is the world. Just accept it. Let's just move on. We know what right and wrong is and how the world works. We're comfortable enough with where we are to be able to intake this and process it. We're not going to be like, oh man, drugs are awesome? Are you telling me if I get the wacky tobacco, I can just slow down time? Why is everyone not on this shit?
Yeah.
Dude, it's been 420 for 5 minutes. Like, it's ridiculous. We're adults. We are over 18. Like, let us have our stupid game with this stupid drug mechanic.
Yeah.
And to anyone who would be saying, well, you know what, I don't want to support these kinds of games, that's fine. Just don't purchase it.
Oh yeah, no, that's easy. Again,
Like,
your wallet
again,
speaks louder.
Not just that, but it goes back to the whole thing of, you have no connection to a product until you purchase it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Until you were to go and purchase that product, you can't do... it's in one lane, you're in another.
Yeah.
Leave it at that.
Yeah. Unless the product is a legitimate, like, piece of propaganda for anything, or like predatory again, that's the only times I think that you can, that's the time to step out of line and fucking make a fuss. But if it's just, man, I don't agree with the messages of this game, well, boo fucking who, just don't play it.
Yeah. Like, tough, bro.
Let's
move on.
Tough.
That's it. Like, yeah. Now, I think there's a discussion that needs to be had. Am I right?
There is a discussion that needs to be had. We're going to talk about some PUBG. We're going to talk about some Fortnite. We're going to talk about some of this battle royale bullshit that's going on in the industry right now, and whether or not we think it's a good or a bad thing.
Battle royale? How dare you?
The Minecraft survival games have been going on for 10 years now. I don't think it's a new concept, but I'm glad that someone decided to make a Gary's Mod version of it and call it PUBG. Oh my god, PUBG is horrible. But do you guys agree with me that the Battle Royale genre is probably, from our trajectory, looking like it will be the next first-person shooter?
No.
No?
I don't.
Really? Alright, go on.
Look, to be honest, the thing with the first-person shooter is, I think that's a lot more... It's got a lot more versatility. You can chase it out. You can make a first-person shooter and make it a puzzle game. Look at Portal. Portal is technically a first-person shooter. It's a puzzle game, but it is a first-person shooter. You can take elements of a first-person shooter, things like that. How much really can you do with a Battle Royale game?
I would say a lot. I would say that
Really?
you could change it up a bit. It's not as versatile as the first-person shooter. I don't think we're going to see... well, actually, no. Fucking Battle Royale Portal would be interesting, but... Like, I think it's unexplored territory, but I'm saying that this is something that corporate suit's going to look at, and it's going to look at the numbers and go, we need to put battle royales in everything.
Like,
I don't think it's going to be the RPG mechanics of the phone industry, but I do think that this might become a trend.
Yeah, but do you think it's going to get to the level of the first-person shooter was?
No.
Maybe even 10 years ago. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, no,
I
disagree with that.
It is not going to get to that level. Look, I'm not going to doubt that it might be around for maybe another couple years. Like that's how I see it. But
I see it as the survival crafting thing.
Here's my rule of thumb. You can be as creative as the face of that genre is. So right now, for example, Fortnite, I guess it's pretty fair to say Fortnite is the leader.
Oh no, absolutely. I would.
When you look at Battle Royale games.
Well, if we were to say PUBG was the leader, that'd be kind of like saying Paladins is definitely better than Overwatch.
But here's the thing: the moment, say, I made a Battle Royale game and it got some popularity, if I try to be more creative than Fortnite, and I keep moving away from what Fortnite is, I'm going to be pushing away my market because because people are going to look and say, well, Fortnite's been around longer, it's more trustworthy, all my mates play it. Why would I play this new one?
That's pretty much... I would pretty much say that that's the effect of World of Warcraft, that's the effect of Call of Duty on their genres.
Yeah.
Fucking MMOs... World of Warcraft dominates MMOs to the point now where all other MMOs just look like shitty World of Warcraft. And we went through a time where we saw first-person shooters really struggling to get out of the military shooter genre. Like, it was a plague of those kinds of games. And if you look on Steam...
I wouldn't say military shooter, but I would say a lot of them tried to be more dark and gritty to match the
definitely. The edge was real. That was some cutting edge.
I've never seen so many shades of brown and grey.
No, I've never seen so... That's some next-gen brown right there. But another thing of that was the survival game. Like, on Steam. Yeah. We saw hundreds of them drop. And I'm going to say this. The bloody Battle Royale genre... from the way it's being presented at the moment through things like PUBG, it's a relatively simple thing to pull off if we're talking about base mechanics. So I think that a lot of games might want to include it into their repertoire of what available game modes there are. Because you basically, all you're doing is, alright, you got my first-person shooting mechanic, and we've perfected that over the years, unfortunately, and we're basically just going, alright, let's drop 50 people into a map. Yeah, so I'm not discrediting Fortnite because Fortnite introduces a lot of mechanics and a lot of interesting things that changes it up. But I'm just saying this is a relatively simple thing that can be introduced to a lot of games.
At its core.
At its core.
Yeah.
But see, my thing with it is, you can... I mean, look, when it comes to Battle Royales, it's a case of... you can sort of give it to anything. Like, one game I played a heap of back on my PS2 was a game called Driven to Destruction.
Oh, yeah.
You can make the argument that game had a Battle Royale mode because it had demolition derbies and it had the push-off. And
demolition derby is a Battle Royale.
Yeah, precisely.
Technically
it's
what
just
it is.
with cars.
If you made Tekken and you let 3 more people play, it'd be a Battle Royale. It's like...
Yeah, it's like... How long do I see it lasting? Look, I think Fortnite is going to be... It's going to be around for a bit. I'm not saying tomorrow the player base is going to drop dramatically. Or
no, it's going to be around for a few years. I can definitely say that.
But without serious change, I honestly do not know how long it's going to last. I don't think it'll be everlasting.
Yeah, no. Well, look at PUBG. That was the OG, man. But Fortnite's almost completely taken it over at this point.
I mean, I would say it has.
Yeah, it's kind of the king of like the genre at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for starters, a mate of mine put it perfectly. Yeah. Now my mate his name's George. He's the sort of person where he just notices the simplest thing. And I told him, I go, I'm surprised you don't play PUBG. And he goes, bro, Fortnite is free. It's on PS4, and PUBG's gone for $30, and it doesn't work half the time. It's full of glitches. It's still in beta.
Yeah, it looks like a Gary's mod. Like, honestly, it's ridiculous.
So he goes, so explain to me why I would, pay for PUBG. And I'm like, well, I mean, you got a point.
Those kinds of people are, like, the best people for reviewing stuff. And, like, just seeing, like, just for testing shit. Get the most blunt, simple person. It's like...
He's right.
They're just going to tell you the truth. Like, I just think that my only worry is that because we're already seeing it with Call of Duty. Now, I'm not specifically saying a guarantee that it was because of Fortnite and PUBG, but I'm saying it's very likely that it's because of Fortnite and PUBG.
Well,
And ever since Drake went on fucking Twitch and broke records, and we were like, and companies turned around and went, "What's this?" Like, I think they're paying attention to what people are like, what the popular streams are now, and like PUBG and Fortnite have completely taken over. So I think that these AAA games are going to try introducing them. Whether they do it sloppily or really well is yet to be seen, but I'm just worried.
yeah. Well, these are my 2 cents on like this topic at the moment. Like none of these like multiplayer games are like they don't cater to me. I don't really enjoy them too much. Like I don't like playing them. Like outside of that, like what I want to say is like these type of games usually are of course a trend as we've been saying, but it just comes to like a conclusion that just generacy sells.
No, I'll give you that. I think more generic and open-ending things tend to do better in mass markets. But that's just the whole thing of, if you're trying to appeal to a huge amount of people, you can't make things too complicated or specialized, because you're going to isolate people.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, one of the I saw a video. I can't remember what it was. If I find it, I'll link it to you boys. There was the YouTuber was saying one of the reasons Fortnite has been so successful is because it's a quick pace. It's much more of a casual game.
Oh yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. It's a drop and play. You can just drop and have a match.
That's it. Like, you can be like, all right, I got 20 minutes to kill, half an hour to kill. I'll have a game or two of Fortnite. Like, there's nothing stopping anyone from doing that, and it's part of the reason why it's been such a success.
I think that's part
Give
of the
them credit.
reason why. That's the reason why roguelikes are really popular. That's the reason why multiplayer games are really popular. It's because you just got to drop in for a match. When you're playing a single-player game, it's a bit different. There's a certain amount of time investment that the game expects from you.
Unless you're a mobile game.
Yeah, unless you're a mobile gamer, where they will force you to go into that.
One button press.
There is one thing I do want to tie this back to.
All right then.
Earlier on, when we discussed consumers and consumer outrage, I'm gonna say this clear. We don't. I don't know if we ever. I don't know if we've given a tip yet in this episode or the last one, but I'm gonna say this here and I'm gonna say this now. I'm gonna tell you boys the same thing I've told everyone. If you're not sure on how good a game is gonna be, for the love of God, do not pre-order it and do not buy it before you've done some research.
Yeah, don't speak with your wallet, people.
Every time, I had a mate ask me why I never trade in games, and I said, it's simple. I've never wanted to trade in a game. Because I will not buy a game until I'm 99.99% sure I'm going to get my worth out of it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I was talking with my brother-in-law, and this is back before Star Wars Battlefront 2 came out. He pre-ordered it, and I'm like, I told him, I go, hey, after the last one, are you sure? And he went, doesn't matter, I'm pre-ordering it. I'm like, I mean, see yourself, man. That
You're driving. When people buy these things, you're driving that company to want to make more of it. You're driving the market to want to make more of it.
Yeah.
That's why mobile games are the way they are. Is because people really loved Farmville, they really loved the early shit, and it just worked. So they never stopped, and they're not going to.
And the fact that you've thrown your credit card at them, they're just going to keep asking for more.
The fact that they know that they can make a game with really subpar design, and then go, alright, I can expect one person to drop $1,000 on this game. That's ridiculous. That's more than any bloody console game expects from you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy because there are some parts now where, and remind me to link you boys the statistics on this and the findings. But there are some stores now that are reporting that PSN cards and Xbox, Microsoft Point cards or whatever they call them, are outselling. In some stores, they're the highest selling product.
That's ridiculous. My God.
What the hell?
So it was actually the same video I mentioned earlier, where the YouTuber was talking about how Fortnite became so successful, especially in comparison to PUBG. he talked about a story where he was in a GameStop. Obviously, he's American, but he was in a GameStop, and he overheard a mother talking to a kid on the phone, and the kid was saying, "Buy me Fortnite," and she said, "Oh, I'm looking at the games. I can't do Fortnite here." And he said, "No. You buy the card, and that puts money into my PlayStation account." Like it's that's
Some sketchy shit.
Then again, I went into JB today. It's the reason why my sound quality is better.
I know.
I've got a new
thank
microphone.
Oh, Anf with that smooth mic.
But before I went to go and get this microphone, I walked into like the gaming section and saw these PSN and Xbox One cards and whatnot, and Steam cards, and on top said Fortnite accessories.
Oh wow.
And I thought,
wow.
what the hell?
What is this madness?
Because I don't play Fortnite, it took me a while to like put two and two together, and then I realized, oh, I get ya.
I mean, they've got Thanos in the game. That doesn't pay for itself.
No.
Jesus Christ, yeah, I forgot about that.
Does anybody not feel so good at the moment?
I'm not feeling so well, man.
I mean, I feel perfectly fine because the last game I bought was actually, you guys are gonna laugh. So PlayStation, I don't know if they'll still have this sale by the time this goes up, but they had a massive sale over the last week online. And I'm like, all right, I'll see if there's any games that I would have like missed out on that I want to go back and pick up. I bought the digital deluxe edition of Mafia 3 for like $25. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like, I've never understood why, people just sort of have this need to buy a game at launch, and especially if they're not sure of it. You know what I mean? Look,
If you're not sure of it, wait a couple days.
Yeah,
People will review it.
And here's the thing: Mafia 3 was a game that had quite a few issues at launch, but
Day one patches.
no. But see, here's the thing: is I bought it now for $25. They've fixed most of the issues. I haven't come across. I've had one issue with it, and that was mainly because my PS3 I think is starting. My PS4 I think is starting to cark it, but it's been perfectly fine. In fact, I've actually been enjoying the game. It's amazing. You know what I mean? It's a case of like you just
Sometimes
sort of
waiting makes it better.
That's it. Not just that, but you wait, and when you've paid even less for a product, you're way happier. One game that I have not put nearly enough time into is The Witcher 3. I bought the Game of the Year edition of that for $25. Well worth it.
No, it's a good price.
Like, if I had bought it at launch and paid, we'll say $120, because obviously Game of the Year comes with all the DLC, I'd still be happy with that. But I bought it for $25. It's an even better deal.
I think if you're not prepared, if you don't have the time to play the game, if you're not sure about the game, or if you just like you want to, but like it's not like on the top of your priority list, give it a week, give it a month. Like you're going to see sales, you're going to see drops in prices, and you're going to see the game probably function better, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I think this is something that I want to talk about next week. I honestly feel like since the 6th generation of consoles, so the PS3, the 360, I honestly feel like a lot of developers have been taking, to put it lightly, they've been taking liberties with the quality of their game at launch.
Yeah, no, the whole thing of knowing that you can patch it later on to fix major issues.
Yeah.
Like, let's think back to the days of the Xbox lads. Let's think back to the days of like the PS2, the PS1.
Well, I mean,
there were no
think
patches.
Well, the thing I've always said to people is, I mean, if you release the game, back on the PS2 was the thing, the PS2 was the highest selling console. So, if you released the game on the PS2 and it was a broken, buggy mess, you couldn't, there was nothing you could do. It was you released your broken game. If it gets a bad review, that's it. It's a bad review.
No, that's it. Like, you can't fix it. And I think even now we have an expectation of, we don't judge things as harshly for these kinds of things because we know they can be patched out.
It's become quite the norm.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing.
You might not judge games harshly, but I definitely do. I'm the sort of person where it's like, I've said this before. I absolutely loathe massive day one patches.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
the worst.
Oh.
Because
yeah.
if your release date, for example, is like June 7th, your game better be fully functional on June 7th.
There's nothing worse than buying a game day one, being excited, coming home, putting it in the machine, and being greeted by a 45 gigabyte update.
Low key Final Fantasy 15.
No. Worst culprit of that, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5.
Oh yeah, where the only thing on the disc was the tutorial.
Yeah. No, you think we're laughing? If that was the actual thing, the rest of the game was in a patch.
Yeah, it's a 60 gig patch. It's ridiculous.
That's
I'll tell you why.
that's
I know
ridiculous.
The reason why. No, I'll tell you the reason why. It's because they don't have the rights anymore.
No, it wasn't just that, but the reason that only the tutorial's on there is because, from memory, that was the minimum amount of content they could put on the disc for it to be like worth actually creating.
Nah.
So they literally put the tutorial on there and they said we'll just patch the rest of the game in.
Yeah.
All right,
the whole
dudes.
thing was that they had to rush it because
that was their last chance with the rights. Yeah.
So they knew it. But the whole thing now is Skate's going to be an interesting case of, let's say these near retro game collectors get a copy of Skate, and there's no more Xbox 360 marketplace to download the patch from. Well, then you've got a very expensive tutorial, my friend.
With a game like that, it's just basically how to skateboard the game.
It's
Pretty
not even
much.
that. It was a glitchy, buggy piece of shit.
I
not
would tell.
good.
Look, I would honestly tell anyone, go to a Game Traders or some sort of retro game, seller place, buy a PS2 and buy every Tony Hawk game from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 up until...
Underground?
No, past Underground. I liked Underground. Okay. I liked Underground 2 and American Wasteland. Liked all of those.
Yeah.
I would say stop at American Wasteland, and if you really want to push yourself, go to Proving Ground. But after American Wasteland, I would say jump to the next generation. Because that was when, the PS3 and 360 came out, and they had better versions of those games anyway.
Yeah. No, I think the Tony Hawk series was really big. That's gone now.
It actually was one of the reasons I used to like skateboarding as a kid. It was the main reason. I used to actually skateboard, and I used to actually, be able to ollie a bit, things like that. But it's like...
Coming soon, video of Charbs skateboarding.
That will never happen.
It better not happen. The goddamn, break your ankles.
I moved on to breaking ankles on a basketball court instead. Better decision.
Oh.
With the crossover.
Fully radical, dude.
Oh god, never say that again.
Even in the smooth mic, that doesn't sound good.
No,
it made me cry a bit.
If you want to know the funniest thing though, do you know what my first skateboard was? It had so the bottom of the deck, it wasn't like a skate company or anything like that I was following. I had a Digimon skateboard.
Oh, that's the good shit right there.
That was my first.
That was my good shit right there.
That was my first skateboard, and I got that when I was 7. I remember.
That's amazing.
And that would have only ever happened in 2003, 2004.
Oh yeah, that's the only time that would happen. A Digimon skateboard, Jesus.
Is there a skateboarding Digimon?
Oh my god.
Oh my god, is there? There might be.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
I want to see Agumon bust the 900.
To be fair, that's not out of character for Digimon, but
oh wow,
there might be a Skatemon.
Olymon.
I'll have to look it up. But
I don't think there is, and I really hope there isn't.
I know there's a DJ. There's a DJ one.
Oh wow.
I think there's a rollerblading one, but I don't think there's a skateboarding one.
Oh, we're getting close. We're getting close.
God. We're hitting maximum Digimon.
Oh man.
Oh, my Digimon fucking reader is
You
activating.
know what?
I'm the only guy on the planet that bought Cyber Sleuth next order.
Seriously?
I'm sorry. No, hacker's memory. That's a good sound.
No, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. The funniest thing was, so one of my mates' birthdays last year, we couldn't figure out what to get him. There were about 4 of us. Now, me and two of our other mates, we knew what we got him. We'd given him his present and all that. Now, our friend whose birthday it was, we all knew he loved Pokemon. So our one mate Jack goes, you know what? I know the perfect thing to get him. we were walking through the city and we came across this pawn shop, this like, you know, all that stuff, and they had like these Pokemon ROM hacks, and he bought 2 of them.
There's some good games, man. You don't know.
He bought them, and the best part is they were like perfectly translated and all that, because I've seen so many of them. You put the cartridge in and it's like Japanese or something.
Yeah.
And luckily we found like the 2 like fully translated ones in Sydney, and yeah, we got him that, and he was like overjoyed for it. I'm like, fine then, I'll take the bottle of alcohol I bought you and piss off then.
Bottle of alcohol? This man's got Pokemon Quartz. He doesn't need alcohol.
I think that's what one of them was.
No, that's the good shit right there. I love ROM hacks.
Oh, man. I think one was Quartz, and I think the other one was like Pokemon Chrome or something like that. I don't know.
I remember a friend showing me once where it just started off with "Welcome to the world of fucking Pokemon," and I'm just like, okay.
Oh, there's so many edge hacks, which is just like, it's Pokemon, but it swears now.
No, I still say the best thing you can do with Pokemon is... So one thing my brother-in-law told me, because he used to love Pokemon back in the day, is he always named his rival Bitch.
Oh my god.
Because when he steals the Pokemon in like the Gen 2 games, you just hear Professor Elm say, "Bitch stole my Pokemon."
I think everyone's had that at some point. It's like naming your rival asshole. And
yeah, I think I named him Prick.
Jesus Christ.
But and
I always name them after my friends. Like, it's
God,
like, oh, my rival, and I'm better than them.
And like the other thing you can do is name your Pokemon "Oh shit he," or "Oh shit she," because you can be like "Oh shitty evolving."
No, I like "Damn dude."
Oh man.
Damn dude, he evolving.
Oh.
Damn dude, use quick attack.
Nothing more satisfying than seeing, "Oh shit, he used Hyper Beam."
They banned naughty words now because online play is a thing, and that has ratings now. So you know, you gotta be careful.
You do know that like when X and Y hit, or I think it was, did that start in like Black and White or
no,
what?
It started in X and Y, I believe.
Oh yeah, I what I do as like a bit of a tradition is
You just misspell it.
Catch a Pokemon, name it something with like based on what it looks like, often in the window, and then send over to like Wonder Chat.
Oh god.
Not Wonder Chat, Wonder Trade. And yeah, sometimes you get some good results, sometimes you get some bad results, but it's just all good fun.
Yeah, no, it's all good fun. I think it's
top quality banter.
Top quality banter. But now that we've winded down into talking about Pokemon once more, I'm going to say that thank you for listening to the Save File podcast. This has been episode 2.
Man.
Joining me today has been...
Yeah, are you going to introduce us? Or?
No, man, you fucking do it yourself. This is a dog-eat-dog world.
Oh, well.
2-second awkward silence, dude.
No, I was like waiting. I'm like, he's like waiting. I'm thinking, man, he's probably going to think of like a cool way to introduce us again.
Yeah.
But no.
Do over.
Have you seen my intros? I don't know how to introduce people at all.
I don't want to know if you have like a Google file just like filled it into like a Google spreadsheet with just a bunch of intros for us.
Who told you the spreadsheet?
I'm doing the intros next week.
Alright, you can do the intros next week.
You will live to regret this decision.
It's a bit like the Simpsons cash gags, bro.
But we've been the Save File podcast. Today with me has been Charbs and Anthony.
Yo.
I'm just saying, signing off. See you next week.
Take care. Signing off.
Yo, signing off. See you around.